Liverpool may have been one of the busiest Premier League clubs this summer, but Arne Slot isn't done yet. Giovani Leone is on the verge of sealing a £35 million switch from Parma. Alexander Isak is refusing to play for Newcastle in a bid to force a move to Anfield, and Mark Guehi's name just won't go away. As the Reds prepare to face Bournemouth in their Premier League opener, the transfer drama is far from over. Liverpool are continuing their work in the transfer window, despite being one of the Premier League's busier clubs this summer. The Reds appear to still have their eyes on 3 more players before the market is shut. Arne Slot's side are nearing a complete deal for Parma defender Giovani Leone. The 18-year-old is highly regarded and is set to enter the Dutchman's squad. Transfers for Alexander Isak and Mark Guehi remain less certain, with little over 2 weeks remaining to get their signatures over the line. Guehi could yet arrive for free in 12 months' time. While the 3 years remaining on Isak's contract has ensured Newcastle have not easily caved. The Reds take on Bournemouth to kickstart the Premier League on Friday, however, and will have no faces on show. The likes of Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong could make their debuts in the division. With that said, Mirror Football takes a look at the latest transfer news and rumours surrounding Anfield. Arne Slot kept it coy on the possibility of transfers for Giovani Leone and Mark Guehi. The former is set to arrive at Anfield in a £35 million deal, but the Dutchman would not give much away on the Italian's arrival. The clubs have agreed a deal, but he isn't signed for us yet. The moment he does, I can go into more detail, Slot said as he previewed Liverpool's game with Bournemouth, and Slot pointed reporters in the direction of Oliver Glasner for any questions on Crystal Palace defender Guehi. "He's not our player," said the coach. "Unfortunately, he was the captain of the team who we lost to last Sunday. If you want to have any talks about him, you should go to Palace and manager Oliver Glasner and ask him about it," Slot said. Liverpool targets Alexander Isak faces a fine from Newcastle, as he is set to miss their opening game of the Premier League season against Aston Villa. The Swede's refusal to feature for the Magpies comes as he attempts to force a move to Liverpool. Isak has claimed he will not play for Newcastle again, and it is that stance that could see the 25-year-old in trouble. The star striker has so far continued to receive his £140,000 a week wages amidst the standoff. Mail Online report: Newcastle's stance will change once Isak misses a competitive match, and discipline will then arrive. Isak's position, meanwhile, is reported to be firm to avoid encouraging the club to believe a truce can be achieved that would kill any prospect of a transfer. Midfielder Lucas Stevenson has signed a new contract with Liverpool before immediately joining Dundee United on a season-long loan for the second term in succession. The 21-year-old impressed with the side and won their Young Player of the Season award in 2024/25. Dundee United manager Jim Goodwin said, "We're absolutely thrilled to welcome Luca back to Tannadice. He made a tremendous impact last season, not just in terms of performances, but in the mentality and energy he brought to the group every single day." Liverpool are set to seal the signing of 18-year-old Parma sensation Giovani Leone for £26 million. The Reds have beaten Inter, AC Milan, Manchester United and Newcastle to the talented centre-back's signature, with the teenager ready to fly in for a medical within 24 hours. Leone will join the first-team squad alongside Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate, while talks for Crystal Palace's Mark Guehi continue. Is Liverpool quietly building the next great Premier League defence? Liverpool are set to land Parma defender Giovani Leone for an initial £26 million. The Reds are closing in on a full agreement with the Serie A side for the centre-back. Leone, 18, is ready to jet to England to complete a medical once the final terms are agreed in the next 24 hours. Liverpool have beaten Inter Milan and AC Milan to his signature, while Manchester United and Newcastle were also keen. Parma were keen for the player to spend this season on loan with them, but the Reds are ready to put him into their first-team squad. Leone will be part of the squad alongside Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate and Joe Gomez, who has returned to training this week. Liverpool are also trying to sign Crystal Palace defender Mark Guehi and are continuing talks with their Premier League counterparts for a deal of around £35 million. Leone replaces Jarell Quansah, who was sold to Bayer Leverkusen for £30 million earlier in the window. Leoni broke into Parma starting lineup in the second half of last season and made 17 appearances. He can play in the middle of a back three or on the right side of a two. Liverpool's sporting director Richard Hughes remains in talks with Parma chief executive Federico Cherubini, but the main parts of the deal are agreed. Liverpool missed out on young centre-backs in the last couple of windows after failed attempts to land Levi Colwill, Lenny Yoro and Dean Huijsen. Colwill stayed with Chelsea while Yoro preferred Manchester United when he left Lille, and Huijsen picked Real Madrid this summer. The deal does not make any difference to Liverpool's pursuit of Guehi, with talks to continue through this week. Guehi, 25, has just 1 year left on his contract at Selhurst Park and wants to make the move to Anfield. Liverpool want to do a deal this summer, but could take him for free in 12 months. Palace chairman Steve Parish does not want to let Guehi go for free, but also wants over £40 million for him, with negotiations to continue. Palace turned down a £70 million bid from Newcastle in January and went on to win the FA Cup. They have been demoted to the Conference League, but they are still set for a big season and would want to replace Guehi if he departs, so want to command as high a fee as possible. Liverpool have no plans to sell Ibrahima Konate, even if they are successful in bringing in two new central defenders. With a deal for Crystal Palace captain Marc Guehi close, the Frenchman has entered the final 12 months of his contract and can leave for nothing next summer as things stand. The Reds have just seen Trent Alexander-Arnold run down his deal and will be determined to avoid a repeat. Konate is interesting. Real Madrid, given his contract status, and his peak years remain ahead of him. Liverpool could look to cash in this summer. Much like Palace believe they have little alternative when it comes to Guehi, but that is not the plan at Anfield. Arne Slot has had a summer-long interest in Guehi, who just captained the Eagles to FA Cup and Community Shield success. They are also working on a deal for Parma's Giovani Leone, seen as a project for the future if they can beat Inter Milan to his signature. But Konate remains integral to their plans, and any new arrivals are not to offset any potential departure. Slot has been quizzed on his resources at the heart of defence after seeing Jarell Quansah leave for Bayer Leverkusen and Joe Gomez pick up more injury concerns. The Dutchman believes he has sufficient cover, but there's no doubt the club would act if a deal was available, which Guehi certainly seems to be. His contract situation means Palace cannot demand a huge fee, and their chairman Steve Parish admits they may have to cash in. He said, "For players of that calibre to leave on a free, it's a problem for us, unfortunately. We'll just have to see what happens. But, it needs a new contract or a conclusion of some kind." Konate rejected Liverpool's initial offer of an extension, but more negotiations are expected. His contract talks were delayed last year as the club's bosses put their focus on retaining Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah. The former RB Leipzig defender is understood to be disappointed by the structure of Liverpool's offer, with his representatives thought to be pushing for a higher basic wage after the offer was largely based on meeting performance targets, which would have been crucial to his earning capacity. Alexander Isak has dropped a bombshell. The Newcastle striker is adamant he's played his last game for the club, with Liverpool ready to up their bid to a staggering £150 million. Could we see the Sweden star swap black and white for red before deadline day? Let's break down the explosive latest developments. Newcastle striker Alexander Isak is adamant. He has played his final game for the club. The Sweden star top scored for the club last season, but has attracted interest from Liverpool this summer. Liverpool saw a bid for the striker knocked back earlier in the window. However, the latest development could lead to a deal going through before deadline day. As first reported by The Athletic, Isak has no plan to reintegrate into Newcastle's squad, even if no deal is agreed before the September 1st deadline. Isak played out the 2024-25 season, having decided that he wanted to move at the end of the campaign, ever since he was informed last year that he wouldn't be getting a new contract. Isak's stance comes amid a host of high-profile pundits making their feelings clear on his behaviour, with Ali McCoist declaring, "I think he's acted poorly." He told Mirror Football, "I think he's been poor. You can't behave like that. The one set of supporters that won't let you away with it on Newcastle fans. It's hard to argue with them. Isak's current deal runs until the summer of 2028, meaning Newcastle are unlikely to be forced to sell on the cheap. However, the latest development may make it easier for Liverpool to land the former Real Sociedad star. The Reds' first bid was worth up to £120 million, including add-ons. However, an improved offer around £150 million could yet prove sufficient. Newcastle take on Aston Villa in their Premier League opener on Saturday, with Liverpool beginning their campaign against Bournemouth on Friday night. Isak is not expected to play a part, but a Liverpool move before deadline day would allow him to turn out for the champions early in the campaign. The striker is said to have informed Newcastle boss Eddie Howe of his desire to leave before the end of last season. He finished the campaign as Newcastle's top scorer to help them qualify for the Champions League, but doesn't look likely to play any part in the next European journey. Liverpool have already spent big during the summer transfer window, including a record-breaking move for Florian Wirtz. Hugo Ekitike has also joined the club, but exits for Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez have left room for another attacking recruit. Newcastle let Isak's backup Callum Wilson leave on a free earlier in the summer, and have seen a number of other attacking targets move elsewhere. Ekitike was on their radar before he moved to Anfield, while João Pedro chose Chelsea and Benjamin Sesko opted for a move to Manchester United. A number of other options have emerged, with Howe's side running out of time to add the reinforcements they need. Porto striker Samu Omorodion is among those said to be in the mix, 12 months on from a move to Chelsea collapsing. While an on-off pursuit of Brentford star Yoane Wissa looks as though it could still result in a move in the coming weeks.